Hey! Wanauliza ni aje niko na drip. Kwanza kaangalia mguu tu shuge minaongea kila kitu. And guess what? Hatuja import this time.
Hi guys, how you doing? How is your week going? Okay, the week just started, so I'm shooting this on Monday, and it's Daisy Riri Beta Entrepreneur Series Masterclass. Welcome to my masterclass. And if you'd like to support the channel, send them first. I'm going to leave my number here. And then if you're not an entrepreneur, make sure you send them this link, subscribe, like, start a notification. Let us grow our businesses. We are all by force. Now for them, most you guys should start waking up in the right side of capitalism, whether you like it or not. So first of all, I remember I've been complaining I don't have an office. I finally have my own office, and it feels amazing. Let's get to work. We are still going towards what the business model, and today we are going to handle two things at the same time. Number two, which is what? Problem. And number three, which is what? Revenue stream. I want to do this together so that you get an idea of what you can do. Without this well defined, you're going to have a lot of problems. Okay, sorry, that's so funny. You get the part. So let's talk about problem. Where we're usually going to start by defining all these things. Problem ni shida gani ume notice. People call it gap. Some people call it pain. Some people call it problem. Ikona so many like when if you are in uni, what is your what is your problem? What are you trying to solve? As in kuna shida gani kwa market so that your business should be what? Should be viable. And here also good practices. Ask yourself, I want you to look at the industry at large, then slowly but slowly try to do to figure out where best to put yourself. I'm going to unpack that later on. And then revenue stream. So you've discovered what your problem is. See, your revenue stream is how do you get paid. This is how do you get paid. That's very simple. This one is the easiest. How do you get paid? And usually, I like encouraging people when they're starting their own businesses to do this. Test several problems, test several pains, test several gaps, and then you decide which one will pay you, or if you can have more than one problem paying you, more than 3 problems paying you, doesn't really matter. But my point is, in every problem, make sure you try to identify how can you get paid. So revenue stream is usually, how can you get paid? Simple. How can you get paid? At what point do you get paid? And usually sometimes, remember, when I'm talking about getting paid, okay, before you go there, let's go back to this about the problem. So we have defined it as several things. Some people call it pain, gap, needs of scenario. But right now, so how do you identify a problem in supply chain? How to identify a problem? So when you're starting out in an industry, for example, that you're not averse in an industry that you're trying to learn, in a new industry. If you're starting out in a new industry, this one is going to take you some time to figure it out. For me, it has taken me 4 years to realize that Kenya needs to have an e-commerce, not just a regular website. You see, so these ones, every time you discover a problem in the industry, you need to test and see if you can get paid for it. Either you can get paid in money, in data, in whatever form of payment you're looking for, whatever form of revenue stream you're looking at, is usually different from one business to the other. Some, you realize that your problem is so big and your revenue stream should be purely from what? From grants, things like grants, governments, or forward thinking investors. So the point is to do the business for what? For good. So and it doesn't matter when you talk about revenue stream, I don't just mean problems, how to get paid by the market. There are so many other people who are going to pay you depending on what problem you are solving. Okay, so let's dive in. Types of problem you'd encounter in a market. For example, number one, let's say pain problems. Problems from your target market. If you've not watched the last video, please do. You talked about what target market, customer segmentation and stuff. So your pain problem depending on who you are trying to serve. like sasa umeweza kufanya customer segments zako ukapata wase kadhaa, si ndio? So how do you tie them to the existing problem? So zingine inakuanga underserved markets. Kama Kenya, we are heavily underserved in the financial institution, especially like 80% of Kenyans do not have access to bank accounts. As in, that's how Safaricom took advantage of what? Of a financial, building a financial system, because they realized we have what? Underserved communities, right? Number 3, it could be an emerging problem. Emerging problem. Example, one of the emerging problems of the 21st century is what? Education. What do you mean by that? You have to re-educate yourself to survive in the 21st century. So if you are in adult education, there's a gap. Reskilling workers, there's a gap. Because trying to adjust working remotely, which you need some new sets of skills. So sometimes there are what? Emerging problems due to ongoing trends. So you as an entrepreneur, if you're trying to figure out your problem, do what? Study the trends. Okay, if you're trying to understand, you just look at the market and you realize they're not being served and you think your product can match them and then test with them. For pain problems is, for example, like mine. I have a big foot, very simple. I have a big foot, very simple, I'm size 43, and all those things. So it is a pain. Because first of all, it's a personal pain. So how let me give you a simple tool that can help you identify problems in a market, especially if you've already settled on what? On an industry. If you don't settle on an industry, you start do what? Wide range industry. There's a video I did called the banking industry, a wide range look at industry. Julizanga sana anzia biza wapi? Mona hiyo bado uko mbali. But sasa mimi naongea nalo wase tushajua customers wetu ni nani. So when you're looking at all these there's a very simple tool called SWOT. SWOT helps you as an entrepreneur inside everything. You need to be using SWOT for instant decision making. So what do I mean by SWOT? We have all seen this simple tool. This is how you do it. You look at the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So let's say you identify a problem, like we do the adult education one, whereby you want to become what? You want to become you're reskilling workers to survive the 21st century, right? So let's say you're working with education. So what are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities? What are the threats? Before you decide that is your pain, that is your problem, that is your gap. Okay, so let's look at wide industry. Let's say now I'm just helping you debunk. Let's think education, right? So you've decided you want to be in education. Good thinking. Now you've already picked an industry and you've already identified that your clients are going to be what? Adults surviving 21st century. So you've done this before and you not use adults, you use Daisy, but let's use something else. Let's use a service industry, not a product industry today. So adults surviving what? 21st century. So you come and ask yourself, before you decide this is a viable problem to encounter or to get to know what actually the challenges these people undergo, you come and do what? Your SWOT analysis. First of all, what are the strengths? What strengths do you think the industry has or you have, or okay, this is more like your advantage. What do you think is an advantage that would allow you to undertake what? This problem. Whether the advantage is what? Whether the advantage is, let's say, technology, whether the advantage is you as a person, you're an educator, whether, it doesn't matter what the advantage is, I want you to go here on the strength and list all your strengths. An industry strength. As in, sorry, kuna strength yako individual, kuna ya industry, and stuff. I'm going to take one for your both. So, next, weaknesses. What are the weaknesses of you going down this rabbit hole of educating adults in the 21st century? And then, what are the opportunities presented by your strength? Example, you can say the opportunity presented by your strength is this. You are, like myself, currently I'm running a masterclass educating entrepreneurs in Africa on how to do business. Okay, so this channel is specifically targeting what? Entrepreneurs. So, what are the opportunities? Opportunities are in meaning most people go into business without proper education. Without proper education, and no one ever taught you how to do business. No one ever, as in, you're not given the skills to get to start and run a business. Like for me, I've been learning in the game for a while. So let's say it's an opportunity like that, people like me who need to what? To learn. So, and if I'm offering education, not the threats. Threats of how let's make it what? Both industry and individual threats. What is threatening your work to do what? To become a life coach. Your work to become any of these things, whatever industry, whatever problem you're deciding to tackle in the 21st century, you're going to look at what? All these kind of things. So I wanted to use such a simple term as what? As SWOT. And then settle on a problem. And that problem must be written very clearly. When someone asks, sorry, I'm saying, Kwambia ukipanda na lift nishonga 5 minutes. You need to talk about your problem in your value proposition. Instantly, what pain are you? Why should you exist? Why should you exist as a business? Okay, like one I saw, let me use this, my favorite companies, like let's say, Vakenya. Vakenya exists to dignify Africans. How did we decide on that problem? We did an industry-wide what? Research. And remember, when you're doing your research, this should be the resources. As usual, of course, secondary. Usually have secondary, primary data, and number 3 is from, let's say, experience. Either you are on or of someone you know. Okay, but experience is really very, very tricky. You might be the only person going through this stuff. So in experience, be very, very careful to not get stuck in what? In a hobby. So primary is the data that is just out there, like primary data. Primary data, it's not recorded data. But secondary data is what's going to help you best before you come back to what? Primary data. So primary data, if you can find a way of linking your primary data and your secondary data, that will be amazing. Let me give an example of Vakenya, of how you can use that shield of primary data and secondary data to make your work easier. For example, Vakenya, we're in the shoe business. Shoe business. What is the primary data? Secondary data. Primary data ni story kama ya nini ya Daisy. Okay, my personal experiences, stories I was saying, secondary data ni Kenyans consume over 42 million shoes every year. Okay, so so how do I link these two data to make sure that my problem is actually viable in the market? And then how will you get paid at the end of the day? That is very, very simple. This lecture today is the easiest lecture I have ever had to do. That's why I decided to do what? To combine the two. So you need to remember types of data. Use the internet. You watch videos. Listen to other. There's another one of what? Listening to what? Industry leaders. Industry leaders. Here's where you can hire a consultant. You can talk to someone who's already in business. They can guide you in 1, 2, 3. You can hire a coach. So whenever you are doing your problem, remember these are not good. After you've identified your customer and you've known your problem, now you can keep moving forward and doing what? And embarking the entire business model. I hope you have understood. We have handled types of data you can use. We have handled this SWOT analysis tool to help you guide and how you're going to debunk it. And then we have also talked about all those things. Now let's move on. Moving forward. Now, remember I said the problem has to be what? Concise. For every segment, the problem has to be specific, because whatever the problem is, this one's going to what? Why is it important for us to identify the specific problem? This one is going to affect what? Our branding. It's going to affect our what? Our marketing. It's going to affect our what? Our capital inputs, our capital, how we're going to raise capital. It's going to affect who we hire. Do people who you hire care about the said product? Do people, it's even going to affect who your co-founders and partners are going to be. Because at the end of the day, you have to align the people who are in the same, who have the same thoughts about the industry as you do. Probably in the problem also, this one is going to affect your what? Your philosophy. As in, this problem, as an entrepreneur, remember you're a problem solver. Whatever you identify this problem, after you've known your customer, the next thing is what? Is the problem. And try as much as possible to link every problem to a specific customer. Let me give you a simple circle here. So, another tool that can help us debunk our problem is what one of the Simon Sinek used to say. Why? Who? what. Now conquer the 5. W and 1. Why, who, what, how. Okay, sorry, how, what. Okay, is it that really? Is it why, who, how, what? If I'm confused, we're gonna debunk it. But you get the idea. This one is also going to help you identifying what? Your problem. And this is what Sinek argues. Your why. You see here? Is one of the most important questions to ask yourself. And some people, their problems are as complicated as, let's say, apples. Apple claims that their problem is what? It is disrupting the status quo. Whatever that means for them. So in all their product, in all their design, in everything, how they target their consumers, who they talk to, whatever they say, it is what? About their why. They usually challenging what they think is possible. They are constantly asking themselves, how can we challenge what humanity think they've already done, what they've already explored. So let's go, like for example, how is this dignifying African fit? How did we arrive there? That is our why. So whatever happens, our branding, our messaging, our nini will revolve around what? That why. That's why we exist. When someone asks, why do you exist? Nobody is making shoes for African feet. So what will become a value proposition automatically? Dignifying African feet. Or making shoes for Africans. You see? So that is how you build what? Your business model. So your why is very, very important. Why do you exist? The rest are easy to handle. According to Sinek, he keeps saying it's called the circle of something. It's called this circle something. Everything else is noise. If you do not know what? Your why. What is the why for Amazon? Helping consumers live their best lives. Their main job is to do that. It's not an e-commerce platform. It's not, those are tools. Your why is like the most, I don't know how to insist, how most important to insist. And then, after you figure out your problem, is how do we get paid? And I'm going to do, let's say, let's do different options of different industries. Like I would, so that you could open your eyes of how you can get paid. Okay, example, number 1, types of getting paid. Who gets paid by what? In the market. By what? By consumers. You can get paid by governments. You can get paid, depending on who your customer is, you can get paid by market. You can get paid by what? By investors. You can get paid by, that's how you get your revenue. There's some businesses that their main model is that. For example, people in business like the infrastructure business. The infrastructure business usually is you're getting paid by governments and investors because it is in the greater good for this work to go on. So, at the end of the day, you come to realize, so about revenue streams, you remember when you think about revenue, you need to ground to who? Usually, it's not necessarily that your target, the beneficiaries of your product or services pay you. In the model of an NGO model, you are offering value to communities and you're getting paid by financiers, well-wishers, philanthropists, grants, governments. But whoever is paying you is not who is receiving the product. Please remember that sometimes, someone who is paying you is not the person who is receiving the service. Vakenya, we have our shoemaking apprenticeship has always been financed by what? By well-wishers, partners, and people like that. And so when you look at the revenue model, the revenue stream for Vakenya shoemaking apprenticeship, you'll see that the target market. The target market, senior, is who? The people, the beneficiaries of the project are who? Are low-income children, kids from Eastlands. Okay, youth from Eastlands, both men and women. And then, what is our revenue stream to finance this? Partners, grants, well-wishers, philanthropists, sponsors, you see. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to tell you about revenue stream is how do you get paid for a service offered? And sometimes you get paid directly by what? By the market. Sometimes you get paid, okay, those are the two major ways of getting paid in when you're offering what? When you're offering a service or a product. Okay. So, and sometimes it is some products have to be financed by more than one person. You'll get sometimes we have some very complex products, like let's say the vaccine. The revenue stream of people who are making vaccines comes from government, it comes from the market, it comes from sponsors, well-wishers. So the bigger the problem, or the more complex the problem, the more complex the revenue stream. So today I'm just helping you to think about what, to think big or think about your problem. If you are passionate about working with children in underserved communities, please go ahead and do that. But remember, when you're doing that, they are your customers, but you're not getting paid by them. Figure out how to get money to get the project doing what? Rolling. That is your job as an entrepreneur. Like, people never said this, but who knew that Safaricom were given $1 million to roll out M-Pesa? So they knew they were building a financial institution, and they knew that they didn't have financing out of pocket. So what did? They went ahead and found an external financer who saw the opportunity of giving more Kenyans what? Access to financial services. You see, this is a very good proposition. And who paid for it at the beginning? First, it was the person who gave them the grant, and then they had a pathway of monetizing M-Pesa once it was rolled out. So sometimes you get your projects need a different kind of financing for it to come to life, and that should go where? In what? You should think about. And sometimes if you're guy, I forgot this product. Your product is so good, it's in the freemium, they're called freemiums. It is a free product. So you're asking users to finance for it, and then you're offering the product for free. How does that product raise money? Examples of that could be things like, let's say you're asking users to donate actively, like WhatsApp. In the beginning, they used to ask users to do what? To donate, but to pay $1 to use the app, things like that. So, and you're not enforcing it. The app was free. So you see, the people who can have that thing. So like, if you give them that dollar, it's okay. If you don't give them that dollar, WhatsApp is still going to keep functioning. It didn't matter. My point is today was, depending on how you look at the revenue stream, okay, you might decide, like some entrepreneurs, their model is to always get paid by what? By investors and well-wishers. Okay, there's such models. They will never, whatever how their cost structure looks like, if they're gonna get paid, they're gonna get paid by what? Well-wishers and sponsors. That is where the money comes from, and that's okay, depending on how complex the business is. And some projects, it's they're getting so before they get to the cost structure commercial, they're looking at how they're going to get paid. I think I've covered a lot today and about the problem and revenue stream. So if your problem can be monetized, state it. If your problem cannot be monetized, state it. If you're designing a free product, if you're designing a free service, if you're designing whatever you're doing, you need to come and say clearly here, this model has no revenue. And then you need to decide, is it okay for you to not have revenue? And come look at the business where later on we're through what? Cost structure. Come with the level just to laser. And that is all for today about revenue and problem. I hope you have understood. I've explained it. And guys, enjoy your week. It's your girl Daisy Riri here. Subscribe, like, comment, and if you like how I look, these are from Vakenya. My headgear's from Vakenya, and that's all Vakenya I have today. And my shoes are always from Vakenya. Bye guys, enjoy your week.